Hi, everybody. This is Angel Arts again, and welcome to yet another interview for the Dragon Age Season 2 tabletop campaign. I'm here with one of the candidates. This is Sam. Sam, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
If you guys wanted to get an idea of Sam's audition, I'll put a link down in the description below just so you can get an idea of what her proposed character is. So we have that out of the way. And we're just going to kick things off and go straight into the out of character questions so you get an idea to have a feel for who Sam is and what she's all about. So, Sam, the first question is, what is it about the Dragon Age universe that interests you?
I have always been in love with the adventure aspect of Dragon Age. I love that we can get lost in this sort of whimsical, mythical world full of awesome lore, combat, the characters, the cultures. I love that you can just start playing at 8 in the morning and then you look out the window and it's like midnight and you're not even out of the hinterlands. Like,
Oh gosh.
I love that you can just immerse yourself in the game and the adventure aspect of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good answer. Question number two. What is it about tabletop gaming or role playing that interests you?
Well, in regards to tabletop gaming, I think the best answer for me would be that it's very personal. When it comes to computer RPGs, you can get involved in your character, you can get involved in the world, but there's still sort of that separation where tabletop gaming and for all the campaigns that I've watched, it's so personal to watch people come up with their own answers. There's no bracket like, which should I pick? It's all from your head, it's all from your heart. And I think that's really great to watch, especially when people open up. And watching it's amazing, so I can't even imagine what it's like being part of that. So that's what I love about tabletop gaming.
I like that answer. It's personal. I don't think I've gotten that before, so that's a very good answer. Question number three. Why do you believe that you personally would be a good person for others to play with?
Um, I'm really nice and down to earth. Those are probably the obvious answers.
That helps.
It helps. My charismatic attitude. Uh, no, I think what's best is that coming from being a longtime viewer, I would be totally fine with other people having sort of that spotlight. You know, there are certain sessions where it's just about other people developing their characters or having those special combat moments. And I would be totally fine with hanging back watching, like, oh my God, what are they going to do? And so I think sharing that and just letting it happen, I think that makes me a strong player to play with, along with all those additional things I said at the beginning.
Okay, great. This one's a tough question. What is your biggest weakness, do you think, as a player, and how do you plan on overcoming or improving that weakness?
Probably as a player would be my lack of experience in role
Okay.
playing.
Okay.
So the biggest thing I can do to get over that would be just to let myself immerse myself into the character. Make sure that I'm not, if I know my character would say something or do something, but I'm too shy or timid to say anything, I need to squash that bug right away and just let myself interact. And I know with your campaigns, your people, and it's just like a safe place to
Yeah.
just immerse yourself in the character and not be afraid. So I think that's what I'd have to do.
I like that answer just because um, I try to make sure that in the campaigns that, like you said, it is a very safe place. The people that I've had so far, there are a number of them who have told me that it's a great that they go through a lot of personal problems and personal issues, and many of them, I keep off camera, like I don't post those online. But it's really cool that you recognize that because I try very hard to foster a safe place
Yeah.
environment where people can just have fun and just be themselves and just appreciate each other for who they are, and that's very important to me. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you mentioning that. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, and then the last one I think is a pretty fun question. Pick any event or situation that took place in Dragon Age Season 1 And how would your character have handled that specific situation differently or similarly?
I think the one that pops out for me is at the end when they had the choice of what they could do. So,
Okay.
could they go back to the original timeline and put things the way they were supposed to be, or they could live out the rest of their days as is? And I
Correct.
think my character, with her sort of backstory of losing her people, she would have fought as hard as she could to put the timeline back to what it was supposed to be so her people live.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she would have fought so hard for it, she might have even had conflict with the other companions because she believes in it so much. She would have died for that. So I think that's what she would have done differently.
Let's go into the role playing portion. Of course, Sam picked Captain Maelstrom.
Of
Because
course.
why not? Because another very strong female figure, and considering how many strong female players we seem to be attracting, I think that's very fitting. So, um, hypothetical situation, you know that the Tempest Dream has been going around trying to help Ferelden rebuild. A lot of it has been them transferring supplies and all of the good stuff. So let's say that maybe once or twice the Tempest Dream has gone around and has dropped off like food or supplies, and your tribe may or may not have accepted the help. Maybe they did because they were that desperate. Maybe they didn't because they were too prideful, like we don't need any extra help, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what your tribe did, and you can decide on that yourself. Maybe your character is sort of tired of staying where she is, and she actually wants to go out and do something more than just helping your tribe. Maybe there's ways you can help your tribe out there into the rest of the wild blue yonder that can't even imagine what that's like because you've been in the hold for the entire time. So let's say that the Tempest Dream has arrived and they're off near your tribe, and maybe they're sending supplies to a nearby village or a group of people that really needs help. And let's say that somehow you convinced one of the crew members to let you interview with the captain herself to ask if you could have permission to join her crew. So you're interviewing with her to become a part of the Tempest Dream.
Okay.
So we'll assume that that's all taken care of. You're in with the interview. The Tempest Dream is just currently docked in the water because it can do that, and you make your way onto the ship. Now the ship is of course mostly Kunari, half Kunari, and one of them will stop you briefly and say, "Are you Kenna?"
That's me. This is the Tempest Dream, right?
The Kunari sort of raises an eyebrow and says, "There aren't very many flying ships around, so yes."
Well, you were docked in the water, so I had to make sure.
Understandable. The captain has been expecting you. He says, "Keep your weapons where we can see you, have respect, and there should be no complications."
You don't have to worry about me. Let's meet your captain.
The crew member nods, and he will take you over to the captain's office. Now, Captain Maelstrom, the last 5 years have been very draining on her because pretty much the crew has been going out of their way to help a lot of people, and she's a bit weathered from how she was earlier. So she might not be as cheerful. She's a little bit more to the point, might be a little bit more cold. Lealden probably helps with that a little bit, just keep her balanced. But currently, Lealden is nowhere to be found at the moment.
Aw.
The captain is, that's not to say you won't see him at all, but the captain is at her seat, and when you arrive, she rises and says, "Kenna, I presume?"
It is. Captain Maelstrom. Your tales have come all the way even in this barren terrain that I find myself in. It's a pleasure to meet you, and an honor.
Captain Maelstrom's eyebrows go up a bit in surprise, and she says, Such tact and politeness. I don't mean to offend you, but that wasn't what I was going to expect.
Well, I know Avar have this reputation of being barbarians, but we have we are nice, I promise. At least I am.
The Canari have been told the same thing. Perhaps there is a li- She says, perhaps we have a little bit more in common than I thought.
I hope so.
Have a seat, dear, she
Of
says.
course. I take a seat.
Care to have something to drink? Perhaps some wine or brandy?
Oh, we don't get that out here. Of course, I'll take your wine, if you don't mind.
Captain Maelstrom will go over to a cabinet. She'll open it and she'll pull out this bottle with some dark amber filled substance. She says, "So, I heard that you had interest in joining the Tempest Dream crew. Is that right?"
It's true, I do. I know that my hold has been apprehensive to accept help, but there are many other Avar out there who need assistance, and if you're willing to provide it, I'm willing to go and provide you with my skills.
And what skills would that be, dear? What do you believe you can contribute to the crew of the Tempest Dream?
I happen to be a very good archer, probably one of the best tracksmen you've ever seen. I can find anything, even in the harshest climates.
Well, we already have an archer, but that's not to say we can't have two specially trained ones.
You can never have too many bowsmen in the back line.
It definitely would help with collecting food. And I've been meaning to let our archer have a little bit more of a break lately. The poor thing's been overworked quite a bit.
Well, maybe for a little bit of fun, we can have a contest and see who's actually better.
I like how you think, Kenna. I really do. If you don't mind me asking, what exactly did you do to survive the blight?
Well, we fought. We have our hardy folk. We retreated to our last hold at the top of the mountain and we held them back. I helped where I could, and we did our best, and so far we've succeeded, but it's been tough, I'm not gonna lie.
That's very impressive considering how much the Darkspawn were able to spread towards your homelands. You have both my respect and sympathies.
I appreciate that. But we're not gone just yet. We'll make it through this.
Let me ask you something, Kenna. As we said before, my crew is no stranger to being misunderstood by the grand populace. Explain to me what you think is the biggest misconception that you believe people tend to have against your kind.
Against the Avaar, they believe we're barbarians. I've heard many tales that we eat our own young or something crazy nonsense like that. We're very loyal people, especially to our families. We're religious folk, and I know we don't believe in the Maker or Andraste, but we believe in the nature, and we believe in Korth and the Lady of the Skies. And as I said, we're loyal to our family, and if you accept me onto your team, I promise you will become my family, and I will defend you until my dying breath.
When you say that, Captain Maelstrom smiles as if you pretty much said the exact thing that she wanted to hear, and then she leans in and she clasps her hands in front of you and says, "That is precisely the mindset that we have here in the Tempest Dream. Everyone on the crew is part of the family, and we look out for each other and treat each other as such. It can be a bit dysfunctional at times,
I understand that.
but I'm sure that we can overcome such things as long as we understand that we are in this together."
Definitely.
One more question then, Kenna.
Of course.
If you were placed in a situation where you had to choose between the lives of two of your family members or the lives of a dozen innocent civilians you don't even know, which would you choose to save and why?
You don't ask easy questions, Captain Maelstrom. Between my family and innocence.
I don't necessarily expect an easy answer.
Well, I would hope that my family members would understand that that I would have to choose the innocents. Avaar can take care of themselves, and we are willing to give our lives. So I would choose the innocents and hope that my family understands that I will see them again one day when we are retreated back to the lady.
Tell me about someone that you did lose to the Blight, if you don't mind me asking.
She pauses.
We all have lost people to the Blight. I was just curious what your story was.
I lost my I lost my mother to the blight. It was in one of the big wars, holding back the Darkspawn. She urged me to go back because she was the Thane of the Hold at the time. It was her job to be on the front line to help defend the people. I wanted to be there to help, but she told me that it was my job one day that I might take over, and I needed to protect myself, and so she sent me back. Sometimes I still wonder if I should have been there with her, if I could have helped, but that that was the way it went down. She died, and I lived. And sometimes I live with that guilt, and I just hope that with her sacrifice, I can make a difference for my people now.
An air of great concern washes over Captain Maelstrom when you talk about your mother, and she pauses for a moment, taking in what you just said, and she says, "My condolences.
Thank you.
I lost my mother as well. I don't think that this will necessarily ease the pain that much more, but I hope you can take comfort in the fact that you at least had an opportunity to know your mother for the years that you did. Some people, myself included, did not have such a luxury. I lost my mother at childbirth."
I'm very sorry. But it seems that you turned out to be a very strong and capable woman, nonetheless.
I had no other choice but to. It was either allow such hardships to destroy you or build you up. At least that is my motto.
It's a good one to follow. I hope I can follow your example. My name is Kenna, and I am Avaar. I'm sure you've heard barbaric tales about my people. But let me tell you a different story, by my own deeds. I was trained to be an excellent huntsman. I can shoot and track anything in any terrain. And if that's not good enough, I happen to have a very strong companion with me who I'm sure you'll find bearable. In this day and age, Thedas needs allies. The Avaar need allies. Let me be your ally. Let me show you what it means to be Avaar.